Thank you so much for having me again. This is such great fun being able to meet in VR and talk about VR instead of another Zoom call. But hello, my name is Sarah Ticho. I have a background in anthropology, contemporary art and film, but my interest in virtual reality first started in around 2014 when I experienced my first and hopefully only psychotic episode, and I became really fascinated in virtual reality initially as a storytelling tool to really understand lived experience of mental health, but through my research discovered all of these incredible ways that it's used in therapy and pain management and training and education. So over the last few years I've been a VR mental health curator, the big anxiety research around working with artists and scientists around VR for mental health. I started my own company, Hatsumi, which means to see something for the first time, and we're looking at how you can use 3D drawing as an adaptation of an arts and health research method called body mapping. So looking at how you can visually communicate lived experience using 3D drawing tools. I'm also involved in a project called Deep, which is a breath-controlled virtual reality experience that was developed with the Games for Emotional and Mental Health Lab at the Radboud University in the Netherlands, and I'm also the healthcare lead for an organisation called Immerse UK, and so looking at how you can bring together people working in academia and startups and artistic backgrounds in the UK. Sure. So I guess it's important to emphasize beforehand that I'm not an art therapist. It is a regulated industry, and so I think it's just important to be clear about that from the beginning. But the work that I've been doing is, as I alluded to at the beginning, about translating an existing evidence-based arts and health research method and tool called body mapping. So body mapping was first created, I think, in the early 80s in South Africa during a research project looking at how women living with HIV and AIDS could communicate their lived experience. And naturally there was, and sadly still is, a lot of stigma around that. And so they began developing this method. And so traditionally what you would do is trace around your body on a large piece of paper and go through a mindfulness experience and start to think about the embodiment of HIV and AIDS, or the embodiment of anxiety or depression. It's been expanded to be used in a variety of ways since, because we don't just feel these conditions in our heads, right? Like, especially with anxiety and other mental health problems, it's a fully embodied experience. I think even a testament to how immersive VR, like at the moment I can still feel my cheeks going red at the thought of speaking publicly, but even with anxiety, then you get that kind of feeling of sickness to your stomach. And when you sit down with a doctor and they're asking you how you're feeling, then it's really hard to articulate that with words. And so with body mapping, you're invited to think, well, what does this look like in your body? What color do you associate with this experience, or what sort of words or textures? And so I've been working on moving this into a virtual reality experience over the last few years, and co-designing this experience with people with lived experience of chronic pain. Specifically, there's so many different applications of it, and I want to explore all of them, but I think that chronic pain is a really interesting area to explore because of that connection between the brain and the body. And so we've been, in many ways, you could interpret it as an adaptation of Tilt Brush, but you have a 3D avatar in a virtual environment that mirrors your own height and dimensions, and then a series of drawing tools that, like I said, we've co-designed with people with lived experience, and so they're able to illustrate on the body in 3D what this feels like and what it's like. But I think, you know, we're all in VR right now. We all know that the magic of this experience of being able to take you somewhere else, and also, you know, change your mindset and perception, and really focus in on the experience at hand, and being able to, you know, understand the 3D element of emotions. And what I found through the process is really unexpected things as well. The fact that people don't seem to illustrate just inside the body, they illustrate around it as well. And I think my final point is that there's such a fascinating opportunity to really understand and analyze experiences as well. And my interest is really in the intersection of the creative arts and mental health, and analyzing what's described as qualitative data. You know, it's the storytelling and the illustrations that are naturally quite difficult to really analyze through bringing that into a virtual environment and being able to start to think about, you know, what kind of colors are people using, where are they drawing spatially, and being able to analyze that en masse. Imagine if people were able to illustrate their experience of COVID emotionally right now, and how that's affecting them personally, and being able to create a whole gallery of illustrations and a sort of terracotta army of lived experience, and seeing how people are responding and what are the commonalities in where people are feeling that anxiety and pain. That's really where I hope that this research can go. I was just going to say that I've really enjoyed seeing how people are becoming so much more compassionate or understanding to people's situations. I mean, God, this is so tough, isn't it? And my heart especially goes out to parents at the moment, that I think the stress of just maintaining your own mental well-being, let alone caring for small children and homeschooling, and you know, having older friends and family that need to be cared for as well. But I don't know if this is an experience that you guys have been having as well, that actually, if you're not feeling like working that day, just don't do it. And people understand, like, this isn't normal, and I think expecting people to carry on like normal is unrealistic. And I think, especially being interested in mental health and well-being, I personally have put myself under so much pressure to, you know, get things moving, to help people as soon as possible. But when you're trying to push something and you know that it's not working, unless someone's going to die immediately from you not doing that, just sack it off. And I think people understand that, and I really hope that that's something that we can continue to do going forward, of just releasing these unrealistic expectations that we put on ourselves, because chances are the next day, hopefully you'll bounce back. And I think I've personally at least found a bit of a relief in realizing that we put so much pressure on ourselves, but no one else minds as much as we do. So